Welcome to Bhagavad-gītā class, and we are reading from Bhagavad-gītā as it is, chapter 3, text number 17, the matter of the path of action, Karma Yoga. Yasvatmarate Syad Atmatrapta Syama Navaha Atmani Evacha Santusta Tasya Karyam Navidyate. So, translation. But for one who takes a pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. Okay, we'll read verse by verse, or we'll do together. Prabhu? Sridhar, Prabhu,
yes, your wish, Prabhu. However you want to take it.
Okay, no problem. We'll do verse by verse. Okay. This chapter, it tells us clearly, and everyone must engage in some sort of activity in this material. But action can either bind one to this world or liberate one from it. By acting for the pleasure of Krishna, means Supreme Personality of Godhead, without selfish motives, one can be liberated from the laws of karma. Actions and reactions. Laws of karma means actions and reactions. And attain transcendental knowledge of itself and the Supreme. So in this verse, it is telling that we can see Atmarati in the first line, and last Tasya Karyam Navidyate. Tasya Karyam Navidyate. Atmarati means we should progress on self-realization aspect. If we are not in that aspect, then whatever we do, that is no fruitless. He's saying, Yasvatmarati Revasaya Atmarati, taking pleasure in the self. So, taking pleasure in the self. So, by engaging ourselves into karmic activities, and at the same time, by engaging ourselves into Supreme Personality of Godhead for the pleasure of Krishna, and at the same time, we don't expect any results out of it by engaging ourselves into Krishna consciousness. So, and it is saying that Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate. So, if it is not for Krishna's pleasure, then there is that is not proper educated thing. Tasya Karyam Na Vidyate means there is no use of doing that karma, whatever we are doing for our own sake. It is simply mundane activity. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. A person who is fully Krishna conscious and is fully satisfied by his acts in Krishna consciousness no longer has any duty to perform. Due to his being in Krishna conscious, all impiety within is instantly cleansed. And an effect of many thousands of yajna performances, by such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with the Supreme. His duty thus becomes self-illuminated by the grace of the Lord, and therefore he no longer has any obligations to the Vedic injection. Such a Krishna conscious person is no longer interested in material activities and no longer takes pleasure in material arrangements like wine, women, and similar infatuations. So how do we understand this? So we can we discuss about who is Atmarati, and like Just like Sukadeva Goswami, he was a 16 years old boy. When he was, while he was walking there on the pond, so many women were taking shower, bath. But he did not see any of them. He didn't have his focus on any other allurements. He was going nakedly, he was walking. By seeing him, and even those women who are in the pond having taking bath, they did not feel any shy or anything. They didn't even that realize that, okay, somebody is passing, okay, we have to cover ourselves. They didn't. So his focus is that. But even his father, Vyasadeva, was walking in that side. So, but by seeing him, they started covering. Why it is? Because he is a highly scholar. At the same time, he is a matured man. And Sukadeva Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami is also 16-year-old boy. He is also a scholar. But there is a difference. What is the difference? He was passing naked and he was like, they felt that he is very innocent by. Why it is like that? He was a worldly man. So Sukadeva Goswami is a very innocent boy, and his father is a worldly learned man. The girls, after seeing him, covered their body. The story of the other day, we must have heard about the Sukadeva Goswami and Vyasadeva and all. So it doesn't care for any of the things of the world. He's aloof from the world. Sukadeva Goswami is aloof from the world, and at the same time, we should not imitate Sukadeva Goswami. Being okay, I am also not having any attachment, or no, I'm beyond this, so I can also walk allurement. By you see, sometimes in some cities, some mad people they don't have any proper clothes on their body and they walk without clothes. Does he really scholar? Does he free from the all bondages and attachment? And do we consider him? No. One who is in fully Krishna consciousness and bodily at the same time, he is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. We consider him as a Krishna's consciousness devotee. So this madman cannot be considered as a Krishna consciousness devotee. And we must have seen this Jada Bharat. Jada Bharat story, if you all heard about Jada Bharat, so that actually this universe, this is called Ilavrata verse, and before Jada Bharat. Because of Bharat Maharaj, it became Bharat verse. After him, it is named as Bharat verse. Still, we say it is Bharatadesham. We call it Bharatadesham. So why it is why we are mentioning here Bharata Maharaj? Because he's also pure devotee of Lord. But at the same time, at the end of when he was leaving his body, he was remembering the day. So then that is another story. But very engaged, he left his kingdom, his family, his kids, and he has a fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. So he dedicated himself, and in the due course of his practice in forest, he got attachment towards a deer, and while he was leaving the body, so he was focused on remembering the deer. Then he took birth as a deer. Then after that, again he got a chance. So then next birth again he born as a Jada Bharat. So in Jada Bharat, that life, so then he become again is a consciousness regain, and for Krishna consciousness. So he practiced and he elevated and he liberated himself. So there is a, and we see in Raghunath Goswami, is who we like now daily pray Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghuyugo Sri Jiva Gopalako. This Raghunath Goswami, he was also a young man and very rich man's son. At the time of at that time, his father was having 500 years like now before, some 10 millions of coins, rupees. So there are many instances in India we have got, but this Jadabharat, he left his kingdom and family, everything, and went for spiritual realization, self-realization. So it says in Bhagavad-gītā, in the future we can learn that 8th chapter, 6th verse, Yam yam vapi smaram loke tyachate ante kalevaram. One whoever remembers while living body, whoever remembers whatever they remember, if they smaran something, then they will transfer their life into that aspect. If one who is practiced spiritual realization and Krishna consciousness, and he meditates on Krishna, when he leaves his body, while living body, so if he remembers Krishna, so then definitely he'll come back to Godhead. At the same time, Krishna says that even if somebody engaged in my service, in my devotional activities and praying for me, chanting my name, and even they don't have memory to remember at that moment while living body, but personally I come and help them to remember my holy name. As Krishna is giving assurance in Bhagavad-gītā, one must learn from Bhagavad-gītā how we can understand the purpose of human life and what is the purpose of human life. Based upon that, we can elevate and upgrade ourselves from normal human being from a Krishna conscious devotee. That one must understand what is the purpose of life. So based upon that, our life become successful. And in fact, it is telling that in this verse, like, tasya karyam na vidyate, tasya karyam na vidyate. If we are not into self-realization and mundane activities, we say, like engaging ourselves into different activities to our bodily pleasures. So that kind of activities will never help you become elevated to other planets and upper planets, which ourselves really will face lot of struggles. This is, one must have the aim for Krishna consciousness. We should learn this technique. This technique we follow for living the body. It is called this technique of death. We call, Prabhupada says it is a technique of death. Whatever you are thinking, that means you are preparing your next life. So therefore, the whole life shall be so processed, but at the same time, at the end of our life, we can at least think of Krishna, then sure and certain you go back to Krishna. This practice has to be done, because unless we practice while we are strong and stout and our consciousness is right thinking, so instead of wasting time in so many things for sense gratification, if you go on concentration on Krishna consciousness, that means we are making a solution for all the miseries of our material existence. That is the process, Krishna consciousness. Always taking Krishna shelter and thinking of Krishna, never forget Krishna. So therefore, Krishna comes and he presents himself just like ordinary man acting. Just like here in this Bhagavad-gītā, we are discussing, Krishna is present in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was telling to Arjuna, like, see, you are seeing that these all are your nephews, your kinsmen, your brothers and cousins and all. But actually, they are not. We are not this body, we are soul. So Krishna is making Arjuna to understand that. So what is his duty? Krishna is personally telling, okay, kill these people. See, they have already killed by me, but officially I have killed them for in the worldly people. By your hand, you are going to kill them. That it appears that is the present existence we see, like because of forgetfulness we forget Krishna. So one must understand that. So purpose of life must be Atmarathi. Or next verse.
Yes, bro.
Naiva tasya kirtanatho nakrate 18. Yeah. Nakrate neha khasyana nachasya sarvabhuteshu kasyit artha vyapasyatya. I did not finish translation. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. A self-realized man he is no longer obliged to perform any prescribed duty, save and except activities in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not inactivity, either, as will be explained in the following verses. A Krishna conscious man does not take shelter of any person, man or demigod. Whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient in the discharge of his obligations. So here we have to understand that na, never, certainly, tasya, his. Again it is saying that tasya kirtanatho. So by discharge of duty, the purpose, and without discharge of duty in this world, wherever, whatever, never, and of him among all living beings, any purpose taking shelter of Krishna. His means Krishna. In purpose, purport is like, no, so it's very clear, and even if we don't understand, we just go through the word to word meaning, we'll understand. He is mentioning here his means Krishna. We are talking about Krishna. This is very important. What is actually self-realization? All process, religious process, yoga practices, philosophical speculation, or anything for self-realization, any method, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of the all doing all this? So yoga and bhakti and all this. And what is the ultimate goal of the self-realization? That ultimate goal is to understand that I am eternal servant of God, Sri Krishna. We are Gopi, Bharata, Pada, Kamala, Dasanu, Dasa, 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 Dasa. So we have to understand we are the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the Krishna. One who understands this, his life becomes successful. That's all. This is a self-realization. So long one is identifying oneself with this material world, with this body, with his mind, with its self-realization. Self-realization means that I am spirit and the Supreme Lord is also spirit. And I am part and parcel of the Supreme. Just like you take finger, this finger, okay, it's a part and parcel of this body. So when the finger can understand that I'm the part and parcel of this whole body, and my duty is to serve the whole body, that is self-realization. One may ask, how, like, how if you are not able to understand, I can explain you clearly. So one is, so long one is not understanding this point, he is illusioned. What is the position of this finger? Suppose this finger is a person, any individual, spirit is a person, that we have discussed last chapter, second chapter, we must have heard about that. Every one of us individual person. Not only individual person, is a spiritual person. Everyone is a spirit, is a person, that we have discussed, and every one of us individual person. So as individual person, what is my opinion? My position is just like your individual citizen of the state. What is your position? To serve the state. That is your position. That is good citizenship. What does it mean? A good citizen means one who is trying to serve the state. Take, for example, we see in India, now that, especially in communist countries, it is people, it is forcefully, it made to worship their country. For them, the country is the first. Country is the first, then next, everything is next. So in that aspect, so that is their worshipable method. That is their law, state law. This is one, you must understand that the self-realization is very simple thing. Self-realization does not mean anything very extraordinary. Hitvanyata rupam swarupena vyavastita mukti. This is called mukti, means liberation or self-realization. What is that? Hitvanyata rupam means giving up different identity. In this conditioned state, we are identifying, I am American, I am Indian, I am human being, I am hero, I am some doctor, I am a politician, I am so and so, I am CEO. These all things. We identify our bodily identification. I am this, I am that, I am white, I am black. These are all designations. Actually, this is not self-realization. Self-realization is that I am neither American nor Indian, or black nor white, or anything. I am a spirit soul, part and parcel of the whole Krishna. This is self-realization. One who has understood this, the purpose of life, the self-realization, meaning of the self-realization, what is the purpose of life, then he is definitely there. It is like last verse, tasya karyam na vidyate. So here it is, we can understand that Krishna is telling that, so we have to engage ourselves in Krishna himself is to make, and so we have come to point firmly convinced that is self-realization. Therefore, it is stated, the self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties. We read in translation and purport also. Prescribed duties either take for any scripture, they are like, we say take your Bible or Quran and Vedas. There are some prescribed duties, just like in your Bible, there are 10 commandments. Thou shall not kill. Thou shall not kill. So for whom? One who is not self-realized, one who is self-realized, that I am part and parcel of the Supreme God. Everyone is part and parcel of the Supreme God, and human being, animal, ant, aquatic, beasts, birds, every living entity is part and parcel of this Supreme Lord. That is self-realization. Then how can you kill, if everyone is part and parcel, the son of the Supreme, how can you kill your brother, your sisters? And this is self-realization. You will not. You will hesitate even to kill even an ant. Just like we published that picture in our Back to Goddess. We see in Back to Goddess, have you ever seen, and even Bhagavad-gītā it is there. The hunter is hunting, hunter was taking pleasure in killing animals half dead, and when he was self-realized, he was hesitating to kill even an ant. You see, the self-realized, so he has no prescribed duties to you. To him, you haven't got to say, "Thou shall not kill." He will automatically not kill because he is self-realized. Next verse.
Yes, Prabhu.
So when a person is in self-realization, so he is not dependent on anyone. It doesn't mean that okay, I'm independent. Whatever I want to, I can do. It's not that. We have to be in Krishna consciousness. At the same time, we have to fully dependent on Krishna. That is called independent from this body and depending on Krishna. So in that aspect, we have to think, and that's what our acharyas are telling. So tasmata sakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hi acharam karma param apnoti purushaha. Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. Tasma, therefore, without having attachment, satatam, constantly, karyam, as a duty for work and performing unattached activity, certainly performing work towards supreme achieves a man. Apnoti purushaha. He achieves a success, to attaining the supreme. So purport. The supreme is the supreme is the personality of Godhead. For the devotees and liberation for the impersonalist, a person therefore acting for Krishna or in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance and without attachment to the result of the work is certainly making progress toward the supreme personality of Godhead and the supreme goal of life. Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interests of Krishna, because Krishna wanted him to fight. To be a good man or a non-violent man is a personal attachment. But to act on a behalf of the Supreme is to act without attachment for the result. That is perfect action of the highest degree, recommended by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices are performed for purification of impious activities that were performed in the field of sense gratification. But action in Krishna consciousness is transcendental to the reactions of good or evil work. A Krishna conscious person has no attachment for the result, but acts on behalf of Krishna alone. He engages in all kinds of activities, but is completely non-attached. So in this verse, Krishna is, we have to understand that. So the Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna. Whatever is Krishna's interest, that should be our interest. If it is not that, then definitely we are not in the right direction. Krishna wanted him to fight. To be a good man or non-violent man is a personal attachment. So Krishna wanted him to fight then you have to fight. Don't think, okay, how I'm going to benefit by killing them and do like Arjuna never thought that by killing them I will have a kingdom. He never thought that. Even nowadays in a material world, we calculate everything. Okay, for good. Okay, I have to do this activity. What benefit I get by doing this? So do I get really what benefit? What is good? First, we draw the line. What are pros and cons? What is good, bad? What results we get? Okay, if we get this result, how to overcome? If we get this result, by getting this result, good result, how we and further engagement, that okay, we get some profit. Okay, this profit, what I will do? So I will engage, invest in somewhere and to get more profit. Okay, that is our modern mentality. We think about that everything is in a money aspect and our self goal is that to upgrade ourselves in a step by step. Let me have a good car and good wife and good bangla, everything which gives us a sensual pleasure. We think we focus on this aspect, but here Arjuna is we discussed in previous chapter also. He got a Pashpatastra from Lord Shiva and different weapons from this one, Indra and all. But he never attached, he never had any attachment towards this and all thing. He's fully focused. He has some doubts. Okay, when Krishna says, okay, fight, then he has expressed his doubts and confusions. Then Krishna is telling, he understood that. So he understood and he fought, and that is done. To give benefits to us, Vyasadeva has compelled and to give us understanding and to elevate and to understand about Krishna for our own benefit. Vyasadeva gave this Bhagavad-gītā. Again, he wrote and is a Bhagavad-gītā for the Kali Yuga people. We have to understand that. But one who acts on behalf of Krishna and his life becomes successful. So to act without, and in that also we should not have any attachment for the results. That is perfect action of the highest degree. So to understand how, okay, I also act in this way from now onwards. But this we need a practice and we need a guidance, a proper guidance. A self-realized person can make us to understand what is the real perfection of life and self-realization. And simply by hearing and understanding, so in understanding means in materially and theoretically, we cannot practice practically in our daily life. So for that, we need a proper guide. The guide means a spiritual master who connected to Parampara, who is really empowered by Krishna. When we take shelter of Guru and representative of Krishna, then our life becomes successful. That's why we say, Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. So the Guru can definitely elevate and bring our spiritual progress up to the mark such a way that we are in a proper realized situation. It is a practice, it's a process of practice in a bhakti. Different levels of limbs are there in the bhakti. We call it is 9 devotional services. So by engaging oneself into different devotional services, chanting, hearing, these are very important 2 things in this out of 9, especially in Kali Yuga. One who chants and hears of the glories of Krishna and Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His mantra is Krishna's holy name, then definitely he'll be in a right situation. Since you do not have qualification for rising to the platform of jnana, and performing actions with a desire is not suitable for your, and since you have spiritual intelligence, you should perform action without desire. That is explained in this verse. We have to understand that. Therefore, you should perform obligatory prescribed actions without attachment. By doing this, you will attain liberation. That means param. What is that param means? Liberation. That if you know any, like, no, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first verse, first chapter. The param is the supreme. Satyam param dhimahi. Since performing prescribed actions is useless for the person who has attained a vision of Atma, therefore, tasmat, in this verse we see tasmat, do these prescribed actions only as the duty. Karyam. Is karyam means we do, we do this activity, that activity. In Telugu, it is like, if Telugu or Kannada people, and so they understand karyam. Karyam means when we are going to do one activity. Today I have this activity, that activity. What is that activity? That karyam we call. Karyam means one work. Here the work means engaging ourselves into bhakti. I hope you understand. In Sanskrit, some words we can relate actually. He who performs those actions without desire for results, asakta. Asakta means we should not have any asakti for other aspects, especially for desires. And our desire should be Krishna consciousness. Okay, there is no harm having desire to serve Krishna and engaging ourselves into Krishna, and like, you know, in devotional activities we can have desires. Those are proper desires. See that which is different from the body. So what is that different from the body? Satyam param dhimahi. What is param? Param means self-realization, the supreme abode. Who is the param? Is Krishna, the Atma, as it truly exists. So that's what we have to understand from this. So does anyone have any doubts, comments? Hare Krishna. I'm done. Okay. So I'll just make one comment from Srila Prabhupada. He says that, yeah, Krishna consciousness is already within one, in the core of everyone's heart. But because of our materially conditioned life, we have forgotten. Prabhupada is telling that Krishna consciousness is already there in the core of everyone's heart. But because of our materially conditioned life, we have forgotten. The process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So once by chanting this, definitely one revives the Krishna consciousness oneself. For example, so you see, and when Prabhupada was preaching, when he went to West, all these Western boys and girls, so hippies, they have fully engaged themselves into material activities and drinking, smoking, eating, and ganja, marijuana, LSD, so many other activities they take, and they go for dance clubs and all dance and all these things. But the moment when Prabhupada went and he has started giving them Krishna consciousness and he has taught them what is chanting, and by just taking this chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they all become devotees and followers of Srila Prabhupada. And now this we see our gurus, and there are so many Prabhupada disciples and all. So Prabhupada is saying that the Krishna consciousness is there in everyone's heart. By how we can evoke that? By chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That much potency is there in Hare Krishna Mahamantra in this Kali Yuga. One who chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so then definitely it revives Krishna's, and within our heart, then we become Krishna consciousness. All these Prabhupada disciples, they are not by birth devotees. They born in some other country where there is no culture. Some other, we are so fortunate. We born in a Bharatvarsh, which is called Punya Bhumi, Veda Bhumi, which gives us every nook and corner. Temples are there, and wherever you see some sadhus, temples. So by seeing that, at least our consciousness is awoken. See, in that way, Prabhupada is making a wonderful and simple, a strong statement, which everyone can understand. To understand simple activity, we no need to be educated in IIMs or IITs and some other reputed colleges. A simple understanding is that we are Krishna consciousness devotees already, but due to engaging ourselves in material activities, this has been covered by material activities. By just simply chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, we will revive and evoke ourselves, and we are not this body, we are soul. Then the purpose of life we will understand. Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat
Dandavat
Pranam to
Pranam.
everybody.
Hare Krishna, Srivatsa, Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you are there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Dandavat.
Pranam, Prabhu. Where you are? You are in Delhi or Mayapur?
Delhi, Prabhu.
Delhi. Okay.